Welcome to another episode of Put in Work Show. My name is Mark Rankine.
And I'm Luis Guaman.
Awesome. Today we're actually joined by Mr. Abhinav Sharma. He actually works for Blue Ocean Wealth Solutions and he is the managing sales director there. Abhinav, please, welcome to the show, man.
Welcome.
Thank you.
100. So here on the Put in Work Show, we talk a lot about practical steps that people can take to get to levels that other young entrepreneurs, other young millennials like yourself have been able to reach. 26 years old, managing sales director. How does this happen, sir? Were you just like born as like a god of sales or like sales machine? How does this happen?
What's your story?
I started a few years ago in the industry, in the insurance industry, and shit, sorry.
That's fine.
I'm new to this, so you
That's
know.
all right.
Yeah.
Take it again.
So I started in the industry 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago now, and I did really well, not from the get-go, but slowly but surely learned my way, and 2 years later, ended up where I'm at now.
That's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet.
That's a great story. It's like, started 2 years ago, everything went well, here I am.
But that's really, but honestly speaking, like that's like honestly like what a lot of people say. Like that's what they feel. That's what they think. It's like what we do is like we work so hard and then what we do is like just we're in it.
Yeah.
And then we don't think anything else and then we just arrive and we're like, all right, like I'm here. Like that's really it. Okay, so to dive a little bit deeper for like what you went through. Tell us, I want to know one of the because as our audience knows that I'm the sales consultant here and we have the fashion consultant there and you know there we go, and great looking piece obviously. But in sales there's a lot to go through.
Yeah.
And to be managing director, of course, I was managing director as well, and there's a lot that you need to learn. So just for you specifically, what was, let's say, one or two of your biggest hurdles, like when you're trying to become this sales director? What were they and how did you get through them?
So it's funny, when I started, I knew from the get-go that I wanted to go into management. It was by no means easy. I didn't even understand. I didn't know the ABCs of the business when I started.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of help, mentorship, a lot of guidance from my family, friends, and of course the company that I work for. And that really they kind of steered me in the right direction and it led me to where I'm at.
Really? You think your company helped you out a lot in terms of your growth?
100%.
Really?
Maybe not the company entirely.
Sure.
But the few people that I like my manager directly, who I was dealing with on a day-to-day basis, 100%. He is one of the biggest reasons why I'm at where I'm at.
So you're saying he was one of your mentors?
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What did he do specifically that you felt like you were really taking care of?
He literally laid it out for me. Everything that I know today, I'd say 80% of it learned from him. You know, I started, like I said, without any knowledge of the industry.
Right.
Didn't even know how to spell insurance or finance or anything of that matter.
Right.
And came in and he took me on with him. You know, when I came in with appointments, like, oh, I'm gonna go see this client. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. He would go out with me. He would close the sales for me in the beginning. Paired me up with other advanced people who were in the industry for a lot longer than I was.
Right.
So I can kind of watch how they did things and learn their style and kind of develop my own from there, from that point forward.
Okay. Wow.
So, I mean, something that really always gets me is people always approach me and they say, Mark, you know, I started my job as an insurance agent or as a day trader or a broker, and the first thing that they tell you is that you have to develop a book of business.
Yes.
How did you develop your book of business? Because that's like the biggest hurdle for most people. Like, what did you do?
And it's even more of a hurdle when you're younger.
Oh, yeah.
It's harder to take it seriously.
Yeah.
Why is someone who's 40 or 50 going to talk to you about their finances?
Yeah.
You know, they've had money longer than you've been born. So for me, it was very eye to eye, belly to belly. I would literally take a table, set it up somewhere, and talk to strangers on the road. I did.
What?
I would talk to people at the mall. Hey, Mark, how you doing? Nice to meet you. You know, and strike up a conversation, and then.
Wait, you would set up a table?
Yeah.
Is that even a thing? Like,
Absolutely.
can you just like?
Absolutely. It's not so much of I wouldn't say it's not the norm anymore. But most people are. You dive in through your network of people, your contacts and stuff like that. I didn't have that. You know, being young in the industry, I didn't have that. People of my age were not people who had money to do business with, right? Like they're still trying to find their way and climb the ladder, find a job. You know, these are their hurdles they're facing. So for me, those weren't the people I can turn to.
Right.
But you know, I worked at my network a little bit. You know, their families, their parents, stuff like that. But most of it was setting up a table like at my religious organization, talking to people there, getting involved there. I would walk the mall and just talk to people. You know, stuff like that. That's, the table is what I built my entire book of business on the table.
On the table.
On the table.
That's legit.
Unbelievable.
That's cool.
So let's stick a pin right there because I really want people to like hone in on this, like people who are trying to build this kind of business. So did you have to get a permit from someone? Did you have to talk to a manager? How does that part go?
One of my gigs that I had was the religious organization, like I mentioned. Every Sunday I was there. I was involved. They knew me. It was easy. They knew my father. They knew my mother.
Right.
It was easy to get involved. Another gig that I had was Toys R Us. I had one location out on Long Island, and I would...
R.I.P. Toys R Us?
Yeah, Toys R Us. Oh my God.
But I went in one day and I spoke to the manager, and I was like, hey, you know, this is what I want to do. How do you feel about that? And he was like, yeah, cool.
Wow.
Now, it wasn't that simple. It was a lot of other locations that I went to and a lot of different stores that I went to before I found one that was willing to let me do it.
Right.
And
why did they do it? What was in it for them? Was it like, just help me, I'm young and trying to start out? Or did you offer them something?
I didn't offer them anything. It was just, the guy was familiar with it. He had managed another store in a different location and he had that there.
Okay.
So it was a norm to him. So
Got
when
it.
they didn't have that, he was like, oh, okay. You know, just usually the case.
Yeah.
You know,
And from what you just said, you said you had to go through a bunch of different stores so then you could actually be allowed that. Don't let that fool you. That really, don't let that go over your head.
Yeah.
Audience.
Oh yeah.
How many people or companies do you think you visited?
I think I spent a month and a half, 4 days a week, give or take 5 or 6 hours driving around.
A day.
Wow.
About 3 or 4 days a week, 5 or 6 hours driving around between Toys R Us, Bigs R Us, Target, any big box store, anywhere there was a mass amount of people. I walked in and got turned
You would
down.
walk in and talk to typically who?
Whoever the manager was on duty.
The manager who was on duty.
Right, and then would tell me no, or either the manager wasn't there, or I got to speak to a district manager, someone higher up, or we don't do that, call corporate, ask them.
Yeah.
And once you're getting the runaround to call corporate, that's never going to happen. At least in my experience, it never happens.
So why didn't you really give up? If essentially, if you're talking to the same kind of box stores, and then if multiple people in the same kind of industry are telling you no, so it would make, to many people who I've spoken to before, it would make logical sense to be like, okay, these kind of companies don't work like that. So why did you keep trying to go after those kind of companies?
Because my manager told me that it will work. Literally, to be quite honest.
Mentor.
And you just trust your mentor.
Trust your mentor,
He's like, it's not going to be easy, but you're going to find someone who will allow you to do it. Maybe it'll be a grocery store, maybe it'll be a 7-Eleven, but you'll find somebody that's going to be willing to let you do that.
So what gave you the faith? Because a lot of these things these commission-based jobs, like everybody knows that sales is the highest paying job in the world, right? If you get it right, it's astronomical.
Absolutely.
But it's that the first couple of years, first couple of months, that's like really challenging. What made you stick to the task? Because were you getting paid? Like, did you have a base?
No.
No base. No base.
No base.
So what made you stick with it? What gave you that like faith in yourself, like I can get it done, and faith in the company that what they're selling me is true, and faith in your mentor that he can lead me?
So
start with faith in yourself. What gave you that fortitude?
I was always in sales. Even prior to this, the industry that I was in the cell phone business, I was in sales there.
Oh, you're selling phones?
Yes, I was selling phones.
Wow, Mark.
I'm not shitting on phone sellers. I'm just saying.
I was selling phones.
Okay.
But one time I went to a wedding out in Jersey, and I met someone who's from the industry. He worked for a different company. He had his practice set up in Pennsylvania, and this was years before I even joined the business.
Right.
And I met him, and by the end of the day, he was trying to recruit me. And he told me that day, he's like, I think you'll be very successful in this business. Come out to Pennsylvania. He was like 70, by the way. So it was
he was
weird.
Like 70?
He was like 70 years old. I'm like 21 at the time. We hung out the whole day. It was really weird.
At the wedding.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So, but he told me at the end, he's like, I think you can be very successful. And that always stuck with me. Why is this guy who met me for 6, 7, 8 hours randomly never met me before telling me this, or trying to recruit me to be part of his private practice. So that stuck with me, but I didn't do anything with it. I didn't take him up on his offer. I didn't want to move to Pennsylvania, and I continued selling phones and went back to my regular job, my regular life, and about 2 years later, my company that I was with, I was a manager there as well. They offered me a regional trainer position.
Really?
To move up into corporate.
Okay.
What's his name? Someone from corporate came down and said, hey, go online and apply. We think you're ready, so on and so forth.
Right.
Go online and apply. We'll put you in front of the right people to get you there. That night I went online and applied for the position where I'm at now, or before, as an agent. And the following day I turned in my 2-week notice.
Okay.
Wow.
I was like, if I do that and I take that job, I will never be able to walk away from it.
Wow.
Because the pay raise would have been so significant. How can I walk away from that money if I can't walk away from this for a commission-only job? If I take that,
That's true.
it's a safe road. I didn't want to do that.
Why? Why is that the thought process that went through your head? Because for a million people, that's what it would be.
Right. I don't know. It's just never appealed to me.
Wow.
It was great. Yeah, okay. I know that I'm getting a paycheck, and there's some commission when you're, in sales and that on retail sales.
Yeah.
But it's not where I want it to be. It's not the job that I want. It's not the career path that I want.
That's interesting. So most people who give that answer, they're usually because they're not really money oriented. It's because they usually want to make an impact of some sort, whether it be through environmental or through people. So do you think that's accurate for you?
To some degree, yeah, definitely. And the other thing was I wanted to be in business for myself. And
there you go.
Okay. There you go.
And being an agent is exactly that. You're in business for yourself. It's by no means a job. It's a business.
Right.
And you have to view it that way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so my big thing is a lot of people they would say, well, I don't have the entrepreneurial edge because I'm not outgoing and powerful like these other guys. Like, I'm not funny.
Yeah.
People don't necessarily like me. I'm not the popular guy. I can't talk in a crowd. What do you say to those people?
I say to those people, I'm the same way. I'm not that outgoing. It's not that I'm not.
Yeah.
I force myself to become.
Yeah.
I wasn't naturally outgoing.
Yeah.
I wasn't naturally just someone who can strike up a conversation at a bar.
Yeah.
Just talk to a stranger on the side of the road or walk
Right.
around the mall and just talk to strangers and
Right.
get things that way. That wasn't me. You put yourself out there. You have to force it. If you want it, you have to force yourself to go out and do that.
You know what? And that is so true because in our interaction that we've had, you're not the guy who's like, here I am.
Yeah.
I am going to set my mark. It's more like, yes, I'm here.
Yeah.
I will show you through my work what I'm worth. You're not very bombastic and like, rah, rah. Some guys, they come in with they're talking loud and they want you to know that I'm the alpha here. You're not that way, so that I totally believe you. A lot of people, they try to downplay how powerful they are, but with you, it's true.
No, it's 100% true.
So you put yourself in that position because you know what you want.
Yep.
Wow.
Put yourself in the uncomfortable situation until it gets comfortable. That's basically.
So do you feel like a more comfort level with like the crowd and
100%.
interacting?
Now I've been doing it for a while and I've become more and more comfortable every day. I still sometimes struggle with it and I still go out and do it.
Nice. Wow. So how do you, what is that, do you give yourself like a pep talk or what is that thing in your mind that helps you to differentiate the emotional side from the logical? Emotion will say, oh, I'm scared. I don't want to talk to these people. Like they're going to bite me. Yeah. And then the logical is like, if I don't do this, I will not make money. How do you... talk to me about that part.
For me, it's logical.
Okay.
What's the worst that's gonna happen? If I talk to you on the side of the road and say, "Hey, how's it going?" You're gonna brush past me. You're gonna ignore me. What are you gonna do? You're not gonna hit me. You're not gonna spit on me.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully.
Right?
Hopefully.
Right?
Like, hey, how you doing? Bam. What? It happens. It actually does happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
It's like some other sales stories. Not me, but.
So what's the worst that's gonna really happen?
Right.
You'll strike out. Big freaking deal. You go and talk to the next person.
Nice.
That's it.
That's a big deal.
Huge deal.
That
you
derives,
have to get over the fear.
Exactly. It's really the fear of rejection.
Right.
The fear of rejection. That's really what it comes down
in my industry,
to.
you will get rejected every single freaking
Every
day.
day.
Every single day.
Everyone has a learning curve of how they really internalize and how they get through rejection. Like they start knowing how to deal with it. What was that for you?
Cold calling was big for me.
Yeah.
And that's not a norm anymore. A lot of people don't go
Which
down
is
that
stupid,
road.
by the way.
Exactly.
That's very dumb. Like, that's so dumb. People don't regularly cold call people or literally visit people. But anyway,
Right.
Anyway, go ahead.
But I feel like the success rate is very slim, and that's the reason why, I think. But I think getting on the phone and getting rejected is part of the learning curve. Like, by doing that, you're going to learn how to deal with it.
Yeah.
When I did the mall, I would walk around and talk to people, and they're here to pick up something and go. Most people are in a rush. They don't have time.
Right.
And they're brushing past you, and it's a learning curve. You
Right.
learn how to deal with that rejection.
Yeah.
So I think that for me was the cold calling was huge for me.
Huge. I love that, man, because I feel like for so many people, they're so good. They're really, really good. They have the entrepreneurial edge. They have a good thought process, speech pattern. They have the whole gamut. They look good, but they just never get over that like first 6 months of like developing a book of business. So you're saying like you dropped some really good gems here. So number one, putting yourself in the position, like if you're timid, if you're afraid, if you're not as gregarious, putting yourself in that position to learn more or to like get over it.
Yep.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And then number two is that little things that you can do, like your little pop-up. You put your stand, you get your table, whatever, and you start reaching out to people, like facing people.
Yeah.
So that's really, really cool. So now that you're on the other side of the business, managing people.
Right.
Tell me about that. Like, are you the managing type to be like, what are you doing over there?
That's the manager side?
I don't know. When I think of manager, I think of leader is different.
No.
Yeah.
Leader is different.
Right.
Leader will like show you by example, whatever. But how do you handle that part?
Exactly that. Like you said, manager and leader is two different things.
Yeah.
So for me, the biggest, again, like I said before, you're in business for yourself.
Right.
I was when I was an agent. Any agent that comes on board under my management,
Right.
quote unquote,
Right.
is still in business for themselves.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm the person they go to when they need something. But am I really, calling you like, hey, why aren't you go to work today? Why aren't you in the office? That's not the nature of the business, and I'm
Right.
not doing that.
That's almost like real estate.
Right, exactly. You have to be able to do it on your own to a degree. Like I can show you how to do it. I can like someone taught me the ins and outs, but I have to be the one to go out and do it. So it's the same thing.
Gotcha.
Nice. I really like that. And what do you do when you really find, what are some of the things that you look for when to identify a superstar, and how can a superstar identify themselves?
The biggest thing is everyone's going to struggle, right?
Yes.
In the beginning.
Yes.
Are you willing to do what it takes? That's the bottom line. Are you willing to, everyone wants to go to heaven, but are you willing to die? Like,
Right.
Oh, I like
Right?
that. I like that.
Marine
I like
said
that. I like that.
So
Okay.
you have to be willing to do what it takes, and there's no getting around it. There's no secret sauce. There's no magic. There's nothing that, the knowledge is out there. You just have to pick it up and run with it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
So what is that? What is that for you? What will it take?
What will it take?
Yeah. People, different professionals have different opinions.
Whatever it is that you struggle with, like for me, it was networking and getting in people's face and calling and asking for the appointment and stuff like that.
Right.
And I did more of that than anything else. It's called prospecting in the industry, right? So that was a struggle for me, building the book of business. I didn't have the natural market. So and that's what I had to do. For me, I knew early on that if I wanted to be successful in the industry and in the business, what I had to do was overcome that. Get to the book of business point of view.
What's also interesting is, let's say for our listeners who are not in the same industry as you, but it's still going to relate. So what if you don't know what is it that you should be doing to attain it, right? What if you have no idea? You're new to the industry and you're just going through it. How do you figure it out?
Hopefully you're in the right company or firm that's going to give you that guidance. Because for me, that's what it was. I didn't know where the hell to go when I started.
Sure.
Someone told me, like, hey, do this, do that. And if you do it, this is what it's going to look like. This is what success looks like, but this is the road to get there.
Okay.
So that's the bottom line.
Fair enough. So look at your corporate structure.
Absolutely.
Okay. Get some advice from the people working in the company.
Absolutely.
I hope too that they would provide guidance
Right.
and also mentors. That's very deep.
The firm you're with and the management team and their training and their training for new agents and stuff like that is really going to be critical to your success. Otherwise, if they're stumbling, you're stumbling. If they
Right.
don't really know what they're doing, you don't really know what you're doing. And
I can
that's
agree.
where it comes down.
Absolutely. And so what is it that people are supposed to be looking for? So you say, make sure that you look for a company that will mentor you, will guide you, whatever. How will you identify those things? What are the identifying marks of a company with a good mentorship program?
When you do some research,
Yes.
you should look for how their training program is.
How will you find that? Is that on the website?
If you're interviewing with someone, you can ask these questions.
Ah,
They'll let you know,
yeah.
Right? Because when I started, I interviewed a few different firms, and I asked them, what is the training program?
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Right.
What are you going to teach me?
And you're very open about this, like, hey.
Ask questions on the interview.
Okay.
Right? Find out what the person who's interviewing you, what is their background?
Mm-hmm.
How did they get to be where they are? How long have they been in the industry?
Right.
And what their involvement is going to be in your business. Because like I said, when I started, my manager was heavily involved. I would call him day or night, available over the phone anytime,
And he would make himself available to you?
Himself available.
Nice.
So it was amazing. A lot of where I'm at, or like I said before, where I'm at today is thanks to him.
That's great, man.
That's great.
So you got very, very lucky with teaming up with a good mentor.
Absolutely.
And are you that for the other people?
I hope to be, because I draw from what I went through, right?
Right.
So I went through that, and I saw the way he did things,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm basically following the same the same path, and
Nice.
guiding people along the same way.
Sure.
Phenomenal.
Now, something that's really big is the entire idea of insurance in the first place, rather the stereotype, and on top of that, the negative stereotype that there is.
Absolutely.
And when I was new to sales, I just did not like it. I didn't know how to do any of it. I was just bad at talking with people, and I had a negative stereotype for sales in general as well. But specifically for you, for insurance, what is your opinion of that? For people who think of that.
I'll tell you, it's funny, a story just came to mind. You mentioned that.
Yeah.
When I first started in the industry, again, like I said, I was very scared to call people and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So, first thing I did was, one of the first things my manager said to me is, call people you know and just tell them what you're doing. Don't offer them anything, don't sell them anything, just tell them what you're doing. So that they're aware. This way, an opportunity doesn't slip past you.
Can I pause you there? What does that phone call sound like?
It's really just like, hey Mark, we haven't spoken in a while, but I'm just calling to let you know, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing, literally to the point.
Okay. So you're just saying, just letting them know.
Yeah. I mean, however that relationship is.
Okay,
people
right.
that I went out, we would meet up for drinks or something, or dinner, or whatever, and I'll mention it there.
Okay.
Other people I call, one way or another,
let people know. Okay,
good. I chickened out when I first started. So I called the people who I was very close with. I know would receive my call very well, but people who I hadn't talked to in a while, I chickened out, right? And
so you didn't make those calls.
I didn't make several calls that I didn't make that I should have made.
Yeah.
Right.
And this one buddy of mine who I went to college with, we lost touch over the years. Naturally, right? Things happen. People went different ways.
Mm-hmm.
He went on to open his own business. He was in fashion as well.
Mm-hmm.
I say was because December 24th, 2016, he died in a car accident.
Oh no,
Yeah.
That's a shame.
And so I never made that call. I never let him know what I was doing. And had I done so, we could have done some business planning. We could have done some planning as to what happens when you're not able to get up and go to work anymore.
Oh wow.
So for me, that was a big eye opener.
Of course.
The importance of what I'm doing.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. That makes sense. Yeah. And that's it for everybody watching, everybody listening.
Yeah.
When you're involved with a job that you think is, I don't know, especially if you're new, if you think it's weird or if you just don't know why are we doing this, I mean, you would talk to the people in charge so they could tell you why, but I mean, you should know the reasons of what impact your thing, your product or service is making, what you're doing. Even if you're in retail, right? If you're in retail or if you're like cutting up food, if you're a line cook or anything like that, let's just talk like level 1. A lot of these guys don't understand like how important that is. Like you need to understand that, and once you do, then you can get really through the hardships, and you can start making more phone calls. You know what? Cool, this does make a difference. You can start knocking on more doors. You can talk to more people, even if you're not good at it, because that's really from the inside and it just comes out.
To pay for his funeral, they had to go fund me account.
Oh my God!
I couldn't even look at that.
That's
that
crazy.
Wow. So much, and myself, I was
That's
frustrated.
crazy.
Yeah, and you see, like when you have that mentality, like Luis just mentioned a while ago, like understanding how important your contribution to the team is, that's when you start valuing your little contribution. And then upper management invariably notices this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, this guy takes so much pride in his little work.
Exactly.
And they just keep promoting you. They keep promoting you because they're like, he's giving so much more than just the menial tasks that he is assigned, you know? And when you do, because I know so many people, like when I have a friend, and I remember him very, very clearly because we have the same birthday, April 16, 1990. So send me some love on my birthday. He started at, I think it was Foot Locker or H&M or one of those retail stores. And he started at the very bottom. He was a stock guy. He wasn't even on the floor, bro. That's how ridiculous this dude was. He was in the stock room. They were like, you can't be outside with the people. Stay in the back.
What?
So they had him in the back, and he was in the back for 6 months. And I promise you, every 6 months, he got promoted.
Wow.
And I really am trying to get him on the show where his schedule is crazy because now he's like one of like the regional directors of one of these like retail companies.
Wow.
He just kept getting promotion after promotion after promotion because they saw that he's not just another support staff.
Yeah, he's not just turning up to pick up a paycheck.
No, he was just like on it. Now it's different if that's not your passion.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, like he had a passion for like clothes and he just loved being involved and everything. But he was really, really able to just like move up through the ranks because of his contribution and him taking it very, very seriously.
But on that really quick, it's really important for what Mark just said. It doesn't 100% matter, like Mark said, that if it's your passion or not.
Yeah.
But most importantly for what he said is that you just recognize the importance. You recognize the importance of what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Of your role, of course. And so now, like getting back to where you are on the management side, like what are some of the challenges that you faced when you first got into this role? Because just like how you were thrown into it at the beginning, you're thrown into it right now again. Like what are some of the challenges? Because so many of our viewers and listeners, they are young, very ambitious, and they're striving out, and management is recognizing this.
Absolutely.
And they're bringing them up, you know, come on, have a seat at the table. What was that like for you? Bring me through that journey.
So, for me, again, I'm big on, I'm not afraid to ask for help. I'm not afraid to just say that I don't know.
That's a great
People
great
get so hung up,
quality.
I'm in this crazy position, I should know everything. You're not going to, and there's no need to think that.
Right.
So there's people in my firm who've been in my role, where I'm at now, for 10, 12, 15 years.
Yeah.
Why not picking their brain? You know, why am I not leaning on them?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I'm doing exactly that. You know, just like someone guided me into the sales side, I'm granted, like, there's more of the industry knowledge that I have now, and so I know a little bit of what I'm doing, but I'm leaning on people again, just because, again, that's the beauty of, and the most important thing, first thing to do when you're coming into the business, align yourself with the right firm. Because if the firm isn't about working together and building together, then you're going to be on your own, and that's
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So then you're on your own, but I don't feel like that. You know, for me, it's not like that. I feel like the firm that I'm with is a big support for me, and they're a big support for the people that I bring on. And where I don't know, I will be like, okay, cool, let's go walk down to someone else's office who does have the answer, and let's find you.
If you don't have that at your company nowadays, I think you could find that somewhere else. Now you should go somewhere else.
Right,
to
exactly.
really find that. That's absolutely true. Yeah. And for yourself, as an example, you come in, you don't know what you're doing. Then you get the training. You get the training, also you get a mentor, and then you're continuously rising. You have ambition and you have specific practice, so you're getting results. Okay, that's why you get promoted. So now you're at a point where you could say, really, you could know what it means, I suppose, to be a top performer within your industry, or at least your company and your firm. So how would you describe, let's say, the daily habits, okay, or schedule that someone would have of a top performer in your industry?
I was by no means was I like a top performer, but I was doing it right.
Okay.
There's plenty of people doing much better than me, but nonetheless, the day-to-day basically for me looked like me getting on the phone, confirming some appointments in the morning that I had for the day, and then if I had a meeting with someone in the office, handling that, and then I'm out on the field visiting clients, or they're coming in to me at the office. That's really what it looks like. But more of that's what your workday. That's my workday looked like for the most part as an agent. Towards the end when I was doing well. Otherwise, other days were where I don't have as many appointments. I'm on the phone making appointments. If you're not getting in front of people, then you need to spend the time trying to get in front of people.
Right.
That's it.
And are you still doing that now that you're on the? Okay.
I'm not focusing on sales at the moment, only because my role now is recruiting and developing. So I have to recruit and develop a brand new team.
Awesome.
In my agency.
Yeah. So obviously, a lot of our audience, they are at every level, and some of them who are just starting out. What do you look for on a resume, and also what do you look for in the interview to identify this is my guy or gal?
For me, I really, for the most part, don't care what your answers are to the questions that we ask.
Yeah.
They're more, just to understand
formality.
your character. No, not just formality, just to understand your character. But for me, is this person in front of me coachable or not? Can I take this person out on the field and show them? Or are they going to butt heads me and say, hey, no, I know what I'm doing? Because then if you already know what you're doing, then what the hell is the point of me? I can't do anything.
Yeah.
Right? If you already feel like I got it down packed, then great, go on and do what you got to do, right?
Right.
But for me, if I'm looking for someone who's brand spanking new and has no industry knowledge, fresh out of college or something like that, then I need somebody who's coachable.
Right. And coachable doesn't mean, zero ego or whatever, because you do need a healthy dose of ego to do this kind of work.
Absolutely.
So you're not looking for someone who is weak, no backbone, you can just do whatever you want with them, but at the same time that coachability, being able to submit yourself and saying, hey, I'm here to learn.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, so that's a really a key thing that you're looking for.
100%.
Amazing. How does one demonstrate that on their resume? Because you have to pick it out of the hundreds of pile.
I mean, it's not
interesting.
It's not something from a resume. It's hard to.
It's hard to tell.
It's hard to pick that up.
Yeah.
Definitely, it's an interview thing. It has to be something that, based on how they carry themselves, how they speak, that's where you can understand what this person is all about.
So how does one get an interview with you? What do you like on a resume?
Some sales experience.
Some sales experience.
Doesn't hurt.
Okay.
Someone who's interested in the finance industry, insurance industry, has some sort of a background or doesn't, but has maybe some internships or something like that. Anything that is industry related helps. Or sales that is outside of the industry, even if it's in retail or something else.
Right.
Sales experience, that also helps. So those are the people that will rise to the top of the pile.
Yeah.
And then go from there.
Awesome. One last thing to just wrap a nice bow on the whole thing. College. Did you go, and how do you feel about it?
I did go. I did not graduate.
You did not graduate.
I did not graduate.
How long did you get into the program?
I was all the way at the end.
Oh.
About a semester or so left.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. So a lot of people are not happy about the fact that I left because I was at the end.
Oh, wow.
And are we talking family with a lot of people?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's that. So you were just there up until last semester and then just whoop. And just
So what happened was for me was I came into the industry.
Yeah.
And I realized that I'm not coming home with a paycheck.
Yeah.
Right. So for me to make money and do this right, I got to submit myself entirely to the business.
Yeah.
I have to put everything I have, every hour, every waking minute of the day into developing my practice and my business, basically.
Yes.
So what am I going to? I think a degree and an education are two different things. It's one thing to say I went to college. It's great, but did you go there for the degree or for the education? Right. So
that's very true.
Yeah.
Because I learned more about my industry on the job. Of course.
Yeah,
no one's teaching you in college what the hell is insurance.
Sure.
Right? So for me, that was time better invested for me.
Yes.
Right? Now if you're someone who is going down the path of becoming a doctor or something in the medicine field or a lawyer or something like that,
Please go.
Please
Jesus
go.
Christ. Please go.
Then, definitely college is part of your path.
Right.
But if you're looking into entrepreneurship, then that's up to you to decide.
Right.
Where is your passion? What are you trying to accomplish?
Right.
Where do you see yourself 5 years after college?
Sure. Do you have anything to add to that,
It
Louis?
makes sense. No, I can agree. It makes sense.
Phenomenal. Well, listen, this has been another episode of Put in Work. The man himself, Mr. Abhinav Sharma. Listen, this man just dropped some knowledge. He dropped the nuggets.
Heavy knowledge.
Everything. Listen, heavy stuff. I really hope that everybody was able to take some really good notes. I really hope that you got some good stuff from this. Please let us know. Subscribe. Wait, first of all, would you like to promote anything? Would you like to let the people? Where can they find you?
Where can they
They
find
can
you?
find me on LinkedIn. I think you'll
Yes.
put that in the bottom.
I'll put it here.
So you
Yes.
can definitely visit my LinkedIn.
Yes.
You know, I'm with Blue Ocean Wealth Solutions.
Yes.
We're out in Long Island, East Hills. Yeah.
And are you looking for people or clients?
I am looking for recruits.
You hear that?
So,
Jobs.
And you're looking for clients as well, right?
always.
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 Always looking for clients.
Always.
100%. So listen, hit us with that subscribe. Please let us know in the comments what you appreciated about the program today, what you want to see from us in the future. Let us know if you have any comments, questions. Just put it out there, and we will definitely do our best to reach out and try to serve our audience as best as possible. With that, it's a wrap. Thank you for joining us.